Greetings, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Why I Love Disney podcast. I'm Dustin. I'm here with my friends, as always, Easton and David.
Hey.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Man, we are right on the eve of an exciting election. Have you voted yet?
Nope, going tomorrow. Election day, gonna stand in line, I bet.
So you're an election day guy, right? You're still kind of tried and true.
No, not really. I mean, I don't have that. It's just that it didn't work out to get there early, so
Okay.
gonna have to do it the day of.
Easton, have you voted yet?
No, not yet. Going tomorrow.
Okay, going tomorrow. There is something about, too, like, and I don't want to be the old man here, but there is something about going to vote on election day that's really kind of cool to me and kind of a little nostalgic. But to be honest with you, there's a nice convenient place right close to where I work, and I could just swing by there today. So I might go today just to maybe hopefully avoid the lines. We'll see how that goes. But anyhow, it's exciting times to say the least, in our nation. I say exciting, you could define that a lot of different ways. Anxious, anxiety-ridden, all the things. But we're here to talk about why we love Disney. So I wanted to start by letting you guys know and asking you, have you seen anything or watched anything on Disney Plus? Or how was your Halloween? Did you do anything Disney-related that you want to report to the audience today?
Well, actually, since you've been talking about it for the past few weeks, I finally had some time to watch through Agatha all along.
Oh, and what do you think?
The first couple episodes, I was like, this is okay. This is all right. Like, this is better than I expected. And then the more I watched, I was like, this is good. Like, this is really good.
Yes, it gets better every episode, doesn't it?
Every episode gets better. And then I got to a specific episode that I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible.
Was it episode 7? Was that the one?
It was episode 7.
Dude, that's the last one I've seen. I have not seen the penultimate and the finale yet. Those came out on Wednesday before Halloween, and we watched it as a family, so we're all hopefully tonight going to finish it. But man, episode 7, I'm like, oh my goodness, that was incredible. It's so emotional and just riveting television.
I finished the series yesterday, and just the storytelling is actually so good in the whole thing.
Well, good. I'm glad. It's always great when somebody agrees with me. I'm not out there on an island by myself.
I know it was really refreshing watching something that you watch and you go, oh my goodness, they had a plan from the beginning about where this was headed.
Absolutely. So, David, have we talked you into watching it?
No. Not yet. I'm not saying I won't. I just, at this time, I don't have an interest. I have an aversion. I have to admit, I have an aversion. There's something about it. I don't trust I haven't trusted much new that they've put out. And so I don't value it when I look at my time. There's just better things I could be doing right now. So I'm not saying never.
That's fair. And I don't think you're alone either. I think that you represent a group of people that are just like fed up with some things. And they're like, hey, if you're going to do that, then to be honest, like, there are points in the series that would irritate the snot out of you, just to be, and they irritate me too, right? You're like, this could have been left out. You're preaching to me right now, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I hate more than anything, shows that are preachy. And this, I will say, there's not a lot of it. And the story, a great story and a great compelling acting can sometimes overcome that for me, right? And this does to some extent. So it's kind of a balance. Like, if I just feel, but you're right. I do think you would. I could totally see that. And you represent, I think, a large portion of people out there right now that are just, they don't trust Disney. And if they kind of know what's coming, just are going to stay away. And that's unfortunate, because they could appeal. It could be a smashing hit if they could just tweak a couple little things. And
I'm a long lifetime, if you love Disney, you love it all.
Right.
I mean, that's the way I've always been. Like, I'm all in. But the past 4 or 5 years, I've just learned, like, I love it, but I don't have to love everything. I can say, nope, There's boundaries. There's places. There's things I don't need. I don't have to watch that. I mean, that's what I feel every time I look at Disney Plus now. It just feels like, what is this? I don't even feel like I'm in a Disney brand anymore. So, you know, I can just choose. I could say that's not my Disney.
Yeah. It's not like, you haven't changed. They've changed. You know what I mean?
Maybe we probably totally should have called it Why I Love My Disney podcast. We all define Disney as something different. So,
yeah. Well, either way, so we got that. I actually saw, so I'm not caught up on Agatha All. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes, but me and the family went and saw Venom last night. I know that's not Disney, it's Sony, but we saw the new Venom, The Last Dance in IMAX last night. And I will say, it is worth the watch. It is really, really good. It's what you would expect from a Venom movie. And it's I believe it's the final one with Tom Hardy. It's contractually, maybe not. There's never say never, right? They always come back around. If it makes a bunch of money, they'll figure out a way. But we really enjoyed it. Great kind of action movie, right in the vein of the other 2. Kind of completes the story really well. So really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was my experience this weekend. Haven't really watched anything else. Been trying to stay off of social media and the news because of just all the annoying stuff going on in the world. Right. So it was a good escape to go see Venom for a little bit. So yeah. Moving right along to some other interesting news, and this is kind of one of the coolest things I saw this week. And David, I believe did you send this to the group text originally?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Epic Universe, which opens in May, released a video showing the animatronics from the highly anticipated Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment attraction at the new Epic Universe and what they're calling Dark Universe, which is a classic monster theme. And we've talked about it, and that sounded, when we first heard, we were like, this is going to be amazing. And then, David, you hear the word, well, it's reimagined, which is immediately a red flag. And David's like, oh no, they're reimagining the old monsters.
That word. Ban that
Stop
word.
Reimagining things, right? But no, they released this video showing the animatronics in this attraction. And I will say this, if you ever thought like great animatronics were over and done with, you are sadly mistaken, because these things looked incredible.
It was pretty amazing. I was really excited when it first came out, because as a kid, I mean, like middle school, young high school, man, I went through a phase of really loving those old movies and appreciating what they could do in black and white back in the day, and what they could do with special effects when they didn't have computers, and just what was fun about those original movies, they just had this gothic, spooky vibe, and they didn't have blood, they didn't have the chainsaws and the knife wielding crazy people. I mean, it was a different kind of storytelling, and I kind of thought, man, this is going to be hard to have a whole land that's kind of black and white world. How do you do that? But when they said reimagined, like a lot of people I saw online, it just was like, oh no, this is going to be more of a Halloween Horror Nights, and it still could be. But when I saw these animatronics and the especially the Frankenstein's monster animatronic, was like, that's reimagined. It's not exactly like the movie, but it's enough like the movie that it doesn't feel like that's not the same thing. It felt you'd know in a minute that was Frankenstein the monster.
It's like a different artist. It draws the comic book character, right? Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's not. It's you're right. It's a fresh update, but still you recognize who it is, right?
And of course it helped that you saw the Creature of the Black Lagoon, which is a 1950s character that looks a lot the same, and then you've got something like the Wolfman, where he looks more wolf-like, longer hair, but that's just, I mean, he doesn't look the same, but it's still a similar character. So I was pleased overall. I thought that they looked good. It looked like that Frankenstein's monster actually walked. And anytime you see something special like that he's not just a static figure moving his arms and legs and his head from side to side, which we've seen a lot of that kind of stuff lately, I thought, man, I hope they push the envelope on these. This will be amazing. And I was really pleased. That was the best part of like the Halloween season was like, hey man, this could be really good. And there's reports that like, this in the land, there's a classic part from the Frankenstein movie where there's a windmill. And it's a classic part of the story, and it's going to burst into flames several times a day, kind of like the dragon, I suppose, that in Diagon Alley erupts and breathes fire. This windmill, and they're going to have it. They have even special technology so that you can see it during the day, and something else that happens at night. I mean, that is next level. And again, last week we talked about that. Avengers Campus is taking away the Spider-Man Stuntronic. I mean, which is the best part of that whole land. And then over here we're gonna just make a windmill burst into flames. Watch this. It's like how can these two companies be coexisting? One's going to go this direction, and one's going to take the best part away. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I found this article from WDW Magic, and I'm going to read little snippets of this to you. And Easton, I want your reactions. All right. Okay. David, you jump in too, but I want to hear Easton first. Universal's animatronics, 14 in total for this attraction. 14. That's a lot. Will feature lifelike movement and spine-tingling proximity, putting guests face-to-face with legendary monsters in a way that Universal says feels uniquely visceral. So my thought, and here's my question to you, Easton. We've seen animatronics before. There's we see them all the time, and usually they're far. But can you imagine, like, what is your thought? These monsters, making them lifelike animatronics, and you get to actually be like up close and personal to them. I imagine they pop out like Wicked Witch or Evil Queen style, right? Or from the old Snow White ride. What would your experience be like? Does that excite you? Would you be willing to pay for a ticket to see that?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. I think we've come a long way in how realistic that animatronics can be made. I remember thinking that the animatronic from the River Journey in Animal Kingdom, I remember going, gosh, that looks so realistic. Yep. And then you see these for the Dark Universe, and you're like, these look 10 times as realistic as even that one did.
Yeah.
It's a little bit staggering how real these things can look, which is going to make it, if it's stuff like you're going through this ride where stuff's jumping out at you, like popping up and jump scares, it's going to make it that much more.
It's kind of like, those movies, like the old Jim Henson and the old Star Wars where they actually build puppets and they video that, as opposed to, all the digital, just, green screen stuff. It's just different. It feels more real and more authentic. And I think that's kind of what you get in the attraction on this. Let me read on and get y'all's comments on this. The storyline of this attraction centered on Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, a newly introduced descendant of the infamous scientist, reimagined, right?
Yeah, that is the reimagined part.
It plays on classic horror elements with a twist. This mad scientist's vision to control an army of monsters goes terribly wrong, and guests are plunged into chaos as Dracula, the Wolfman, and the creature from the Black Lagoon are set free. The realistic movements of these animatronics reproduce the innovations Disney Imagineering has popularized, particularly through their use of advanced robotics and expressive character faces. All right, let me hear that. They gave us a little details about these. First, Frankenstein's monster. Get this. Created by science and feared by most, Frankenstein monster walks at 9 feet and weighs over 800 pounds. And guests will first encounter this figure within the queue of the attraction, or he will walk within Dr. Victoria Frankenstein's lab during the pre-show.
That was the pre-show we saw?
The pre-show.
That's crazy.
And 9 feet, 800 pounds. Dracula, it says, guests will encounter Dracula at various moments throughout the attraction as he's behind the horde of enraged monsters terrorizing the manor.
Oh, he's leading the pack.
And then the Wolfman. Among the monsters unleashed within the attraction is the fearsome Wolfman. As guests try to escape the catacombs of Frankenstein Manor, they'll come within inches of his razor-sharp teeth and jagged claws.
Spooky.
Interesting.
I wonder if you'll be able to give him a high five.
I even saw something recently, and I can't remember which park it was, but Disney had to move just a regular panther. Oh, where was it? It was on the train. It was one of the trains, and they had to move something because people kept touching it. So if they can reach this thing, I mean, it's got to be. It might be inches, but they got to know that you can't get to it.
I know. You want to add to realism, number one, and you want to keep people from touching it. Just make the claws like razor sharp. Like you literally, just razor sharp teeth and claws. Somebody touches it, slices them up. They'll learn. They'll learn quick.
We told you.
Yeah. So get real screams. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. I think it would add to the environment myself, and be kind of a throwback to the old days where, hey, you shouldn't have touched it. We told you. You know.
We told you it was hot.
Yeah.
All right.
The creature from the Black Lagoon. Guests will also witness the amphibious Gillman emerge from the inky depths of the Black Lagoon, ready to terrorize guests alongside his fellow monsters.
Ooh.
Well, so still no talk of the bride. No Bride of Frankenstein mentioned in this.
That's true. That's true. Maybe that's the secret, or the maybe they can't give us everything. You got to hold some back.
We don't have the bride. We don't have the mummy.
Well, it says there's 14 animatronics, and they only told us about 4 of them. So,
right. But they told us that Dracula appears more than once. So.
He leads the horde, right? That's true. So he could be multiple of them. That's a good point. Outside the ride, Dark Universe will bring fans closer to Monster World with meet and greet options and roaming characters, enhancing the area's immersive atmosphere in a way that Universal hopes will compete directly with Disney's highly themed experiences. Igor, Dr. Frankenstein's assistant, along with the Invisible Man and an eccentric monster hunter, roam the area, creating a fully realized universe for guests to explore.
Wow. Invisible Man. There's another classic.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I think this is great news. It makes me really want to buy a ticket to Epic Universe.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, yeah, I did. And you asked me before, like how I thought it compared to, like Tiana's animatronics. And I mean, again, you know, I've loved Disney for a long time, and I remember going to the park with my family the very first time, and probably, you know, my parents' reactions to things, you know, helped me love and be amazed by certain things. But I remember going to Hall of Presidents, and, you know, the thing that amazed my dad was that not just the characters that spoke and moved had movement, but while they're talking, you could see other characters reacting to what was being said, and you've got some characters that are just antsy and they can't stand still, and it wasn't a lot compared to today, but just the fact that it was kind of like the stormtroopers scene in Rise of Resistance. There was just that presence of, like, look at all those animatronics on stage at the same time. And everything's moving, everything, at least a little bit. And so we've come a long way. I mean, those simple people just know that, you know, those are simple animatronics now. And when things only move a little bit, like Tiana's, there were several. I mean, I just saw lots of the animal characters in Tiana's. They just have one simple movement, like their head goes back and forth. So they just don't seem very exciting. They don't really do. They're certainly not the character from Avatar. They're not the shaman. I mean, they just don't have that level. A few of them did. At least they're not projections. Like, a lot of people dislike the projection figures, right. But I did. I thought, man, if that Frankenstein's monster is as big as he looks and he's moving, that's going to be pretty impressive. As long as it doesn't break down.
Yeah, that's
hopefully,
true. That's true.
Hopefully they've got that worked out.
Yeah, 9 feet is crazy.
Yeah, and walking along, I don't know. Well, I can't wait to get more video of this.
Yeah, more video of this. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be hard not to watch before I go.
I know. Crazy. Well, not to change again. If you go from really cool news to maybe not so cool news. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of articles out there, and they're trying to spin this as good news, right? They're talking about, like, hey, we tried Walt Disney World's new $329 line-skipping Lightning Lane Premiere Pass. telling you how awesome how it is. So, they have done this. They're kind of soft. I guess there's a soft rollout of this happening to people who are staying in certain resorts that have access to this. And now there's bloggers that have access and are trying this out and reporting on it. David, what have you seen about this? And does it seem to be worth the money?
Well, I didn't. I saw some of those, even some of the vlogs and things that I like to watch. Did some stories on that. I did not watch those. Of course, it's going to be a good price. I mean, of course, it's going to be good. I mean, you're not standing in line. If you've got that money and that money is not important to you, well, yeah, that's going to be a great experience. But if you're a family of 5 or 6, I think I said I saw somebody did an article that said a family of 4, you're adding $2,000 a day for that. I just think it's like crazy. I think it's crazy. I did see a really interesting article. It against that. In People magazine, apparently there was someone on Reddit that posted that they went to Disney World. And it said they didn't. It says no app, no lightning lanes, no virtual queue. They just went unplanned, just did what they could. It says, according to the post, they got to enjoy Magic Kingdom Park to the fullest, going on, quote, 14 rides, and then one of those rides 4 times. Then the article goes on down to say, I took a midday break at the hotel for 3 hours, went back for the Halloween party, so they paid extra for that, and was able there to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure without a virtual queue, the post continued. While the Disney guests didn't get to enjoy Hollywood Studios as much because there were long lines, they shared that Animal Kingdom theme park was hardly any wait at all. So, I mean, it looks like they did those 3 parks. They don't mention Epcot, but they said, they did Flight of Passage at Avatar for 20 minutes. And that, of course, Dinosaur was only 5 minutes and Everest was only 15 minutes, which I've experienced that many times, even on really busy days. It just eventually some of those rides can mellow out. But anyway, so it's good to see that someone can still go and say, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to enjoy it. I don't mind paying for some. There are times I've paid for Genie Plus. There's times that we just said, no, we don't need it today. But man, that is so crazy expensive. Of course, that's probably what they should have done from the beginning. Just had one premier thing that's for the ultra, the people that are willing to really pay up and let everybody else stand in line. But now we've got the main thing now is just so many options, and it just is so confusing. I can't even keep up with what has a virtual queue, and I watch this stuff all the time, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, does that have a virtual queue? What is that? I mean, and obviously from the commenters to this article, there were a lot of people that are just obsessive that can't go unless they have every minute planned down to the second, which drives me crazy too. I like to have a little bit of fluidity. That's why I really like the old plan that if everybody got 3 or 4, 2 or 3, whatever number of fast passes, so that you, at least in your trip, felt like every day you got to skip one line. I mean, that just kind of, that's a game changer just of your morale. That was the best part of Fast Pass. It was that it affected your morale, that you thought, I can stand in these lines because I'm going to get a break on this one. And now I'm even paying for it now. Again, that's, to a lot of people, that's just going to be like a slap in the face. Even if they can afford it, they're not going to want to. They're going to feel a little more price gouged. The food's gone up, the price of the ticket's gone up, and again, we're not getting as much for our money as we already were because they're taking more things away than they're replacing. So that's the big, is it worth it? Well, yeah, if you can afford it, you're not standing in line. That ought to be a great day, but that is a hefty price. That's my take on it, and I'm not sure what I would do. If it was me and one person, that's a different thing. But if your family are 6 or 7 down there, that's pretty steep.
Yeah, my family will not be affording that anytime soon. Yeah. And I was kind of reading through an article, it talks about the value of this, and again, it's kind of like I guess my understanding is, and again, I have not researched what this is. It sort of just kind of makes my brain hurt, all the options now and how confusing it is and whatever else. My understanding, though, is you can buy like individual lightning lanes kind of one at a time on an as-needed basis, right?
Oh, some things. Only a handful.
So does this like let you do everything then?
This does.
I'm so confused. Only a handful of things. This type of attraction is here. Right. This has a virtual. Honestly, like I don't even want to think about it. It really frustrates me, to be perfectly honest. And
you would just need to go and do what you can. And some rides you get in line for Genie Plus, and Genie Plus moves you to the front of the lines. Some rides you have to pay extra. You pay for that individual lightning lane, like Radiator Springs Racers at Disneyland, or Tower of Terror, where you can just purchase an extra thing and then you go straight to the front of the line, but you have to pay like $40 to do that. So I'm assuming, from everything I understand with this one, everything becomes like that. You're not paying extra on top of that. This is kind of like the old days where you could pay for the to me, it's like you could pay for the hefty group ticket where you had the person that walked you around in the plaid vest, and you see these people. It's like the next thing up to that, but you're just not having the tour guide now.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's how I see it. I may be a little bit wrong, but
it's gonna make them money. I mean, what's the downside to this for them? It's just one more expensive option that some people are gonna pay for.
Yeah, like you raise the price. You raise the price to a certain point. You'll get enough people that it will be worth. They'll make money. Again, they've had to offer nothing, and they'll get the people that can afford it. Could
someone and this isn't maybe a novel idea. Why you add something like this? You add the Genie Plus system, right? For the last 3 years, we read an article and a few episodes ago we reported on it how it's made like $1 billion of extra revenue, right? This whole system in the 2 year whatever it's been in existence. If you're going to make all this money kind of out of nothing, right? It's not costing you anything. I mean, the system costs something, right? The programmers to make the app. I get that. But if you're just adding this option that's $329 per person per day that uses it, you can estimate how many millions of dollars are going to make on this in a given year. Why not use that to subsidize just regular ticket prices, right? Why go up on? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if we could? It's kind of like taxing the rich, to subsidize like regular folks that could just want to get in the park, right? Let's drop the price of a daily ticket $10 when we add this other premium option that's going to make 10 times the money that you're going to lose in that $10 gap. Why would you think and then publicize that like crazy and help you with your PR problem?
Well, you just made me. You just put in my brain. Remember the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood taking the last coins out of the broken dog's cast. That's what I feel like where we are with Disney right now. Yeah, there's no. Hey, we're going to do this to offset the price for some more people to come. Unfortunately they just want to go after everybody that can spend, and that's we talked about that last time. That's the whole, 1 minute we have a progressive mindset, the next minute we have a grab all we can Sheriff of Nottingham mindset. There's not very progressive. So
yes,
yeah, back and forth.
I hear you. Well, finally, and we got to wrap this up, but I did see this article about it, kind of this video that went viral of a woman who fell asleep on the People Mover, and they just left her there, and they just videoed her going around on this thing, right? And it's gotten a lot of play, right? Family, she left it on. It's kind of going. So my question to you guys is, and it's kind of funny, everybody's joking about this lady who's just fell asleep on the People Mover. She's like, you see the picture, she's sort of just sprawled out in a cart by herself, and her family just leaves her on and just videos the thing, right? So number one, have you ever fell asleep on the People Mover yourself? In fact, I have also taken a nap on the People Mover.
I probably have definitely dozed, and I have definitely dozed on some other attractions. I especially know that I dozed a couple of times, fell asleep on Spaceship Earth when you turn around and go backwards. I've fallen asleep there. But what surprises me is that they let her stay on.
I'm trying to see if they let her. Let's see.
I mean, I can imagine that you could have fallen asleep and gotten to the end and been like, "Oh gosh, I fell asleep," but I don't think they let you just keep going around and around and around. That's what threw me. I got that impression that she was on there for like hours, having a great nap.
Well, there are times I've done that before. If there's no one in line, they will let you stay on it. And they used to. I don't know. They still do, but I know I've been on that continuously.
I probably have, but I can't remember. It hasn't been in recent years that I've been able to stay. It feels like, you get off earlier than people are getting on because they've got you separated. So
right, that's
true. Like the exit point is a different spot, but maybe they do. And
all right, well, let me ask you this, East. What is the best ride to take a nap on? If you just needed a nap and wanted to get an air conditioner or a ride, air conditioner or not, what is the best one?
Well, I just said that. I think Spaceship Earth because it leans back.
Pretty awesome.
There's actually, I've even had that in the Haunted Mansion when it leans back coming out of the attic scene. There's just that moment.
Haunted Mansion when it leans back multiple times.
You just for 1 second, you're like, oh. Of course, when it flips back up, it's hard. I mean, I don't think it's really easy to fall asleep if it's not tilted back. You'd have to lean over or something, but. Yeah. Yeah,
I will say People Mover is not a comfortable nap, but I have fell asleep on it. And I will say, I think you're right. Haunted Mansion is dark. Like you said, it does lean back at a point. That's a good answer, too. Anything else? Any other great nap rides?
Carousel of Progress.
Oh, yeah. Anything where you just sit there and it's kind of...
And Hall of Presidents, that's another good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If you could just sit and they give you like 20 minutes, you know what I mean?
American Adventure in Epcot.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
That's a shame if you fall asleep in that, but
yeah, we'll have to get a social post on the top 5 places to take what attractions to take a nap on.
I've probably even fallen asleep in Mickey's PhilharMagic before. I've probably napped a little bit there. Anywhere there's a good theater seat.
Yeah, any great
Muppet
theater
3D
seat.
Yep. Muppet Vision.
All right. Well, guys, it's always fun, and until next time, I know we'll know who the new president is because we're getting a new president, who wins, but we'll know who that is and who the new animatronic will be. Maybe they won't have to make a new animatronic. You think they'll make if he wins, will they make a second Trump? Will there be 2 of them?
Maybe he'll get a makeover. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll make him a little older this time. Just a little bit. Anyhow, we'll see. We could have our first woman, in the Hall of Presidents. We'll see how that goes too. But until next time, guys. It's always fun, and to our listeners, thank you for listening. We'd love if you would leave a 5-star review and share an episode with a friend, and also get with us at whylovedisney.com or Instagram or Twitter. And until next time, guys, take care.